All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's installment of the Loading Dock for Week 9. This is our interim episode and our waiver wire discussion. I'm Wyatt with my co-hosts, Andrew and Thomas. And let's begin with a bit of our recap from last week's shenanigans.
I would like to say right out of the gate that Will Levis played his heart out. All right. I was wrong. He did not put up 4 TDs. But
No,
I cannot.
Nothing close.
I cannot take him out of the Hall of Fame conversation yet. I know it's only his second game, but I'm going to count that as a half W because he showed me nothing of why he couldn't be in the Hall of Fame one day.
I mean,
that's what I got to say on that one.
I can't lie. If you know anything about football, like when you're watching Will Levis, you feel like he's going to do something. That's something we were talking about before. It's not like a quarterback where you just want them to not make any mistakes. You want Will Levis to do something. And that's a good feeling to have with a quarterback. And I think that Tennessee should go into this next year with the thought in mind that Will Levis is their guy and try to build around it.
He has that it factor when you watch him. Like
some quarterbacks
have that it factor and they just feel like they can make a big play and they're not scared. They're not scared with the football. And their decision making is very true to themselves, true to the scheme. And I said it in last week's podcast. Mike Vrabel is the perfect situation for him to get comfortable in the NFL. He's not going to have D-Hop and Henry his whole career, but my God, it is a great way for him to start his NFL journey.
For sure. And that division as well. Got a lot of other rookies, so not a ton of pressure. Even Trevor Lawrence, who's the most, experienced in that division. I mean, he's still at the baby end of his career, so it's a good place to be for him for sure.
So you know who Trevor Lawrence actually has very similar stats to? Your hot take of the week last week, which was Mac Jones, who just looked god-awful again.
Yeah, he did. I kind of laid it out that was his game to prove himself, a make-or-break game for him.
Which it was, to be fair.
And it definitely was. Unfortunately, he's absolute hot garbage, and New England needs to hit the fire sale. They just do. They need to figure it out. I think we're starting to slowly learn over the years that the Patriot way is just having an amazingly elite quarterback that helps win games. Since then, it can't be exported to any team. There's no team that has the Patriot way work for them. And the Patriot way went down to Tampa and won. So I just think Mac Jones is not the guy, and they need to figure it out. I don't know if it's in the draft, or I don't know if it's bringing back a broken Jimmy Garoppolo home. But whatever they're going to do, I don't think Mac Jones is the guy that they're doing it with.
Yeah, and I don't know if they'll have the draft capital to either move up to secure one of those top quarterbacks. I'm not sure. It's really a specific. There's the tier 1 of quarterbacks, and then it's a pretty significant drop off from there.
I mean, I'm not saying they can find another Brady, but they got him in the 6th round, so they really don't need amazing draft capital to find their guy. They just have to find him. And I know that's way easier said than done, and thousands of hours go into that, but there are guys out there. They just need to do the research and find
Who was that other?
Brock Purdy was 7th round. You have Will Levis 2nd round. You have Tom Brady was 6th round.
Who was the guy on the practice squad that they sent down and back up? I think he played not Bailey Zapp.
Cunningham?
Malik Cunningham?
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from him preseason, and I think they're doing a disservice to the way that he to the potential that he showed to not give him a decent real chance. With Mac Jones performing the way he is, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think what we just talked about with Levis is what Mac Jones lacks. He doesn't have that confidence to air the ball out. I mean, he might not have the weapons. He doesn't have a D-Hop, but he's got Juju. Juju's been pretty good in other systems, and he's basically irrelevant on the Patriots. And there's no hope there. It's a very depressing offense. I mean, they got Zeke. It's not I feel bad for Patriots fans, and that's kind of funny because my entire life they were absolutely whooping on everybody. So
I'll
they
never
deserve
feel
this.
bad
They
for
got
Patriots
6 Super
fans.
Bowls.
Never say that.
This is the purgatory that comes after that. Enjoy it.
Never say you feel bad for Patriots fans in our lifetime.
I just did.
Yeah.
But I think the core purpose of today, right, is to talk about the waiver wires and what's coming up for this next week. So let's start off with our offense, because here at Dynasty Depot, we care about defense. Defense is big, but let's start with some offense. And Kilger, who's your waiver wire pickup of the week?
On offense, I'm going to go with Jalen Tolbert. He's rostered in 0% of leagues. So this is a guy that you could definitely pick up for a dynasty thing. The reason I'm bringing him up is because just given the good old eye test of that Eagles-Dallas game, Dak was looking at him in those serious goal line 3rd and 4th down moments. He didn't look at a tight end. He didn't look at CD. He didn't look at Brandon Cooks. He looked for this random dude that I've rarely or potentially never heard of, Jalen Tolbert, and he wasn't half bad. I mean, he got 5 looks, and he caught 3 of them for 49 yards and a touchdown. Kind of a breakout game and a very important game. He's someone that I'm looking at and I'm looking forward to in a dynasty league, and he's definitely open in pretty much everything because no one has him and no one's heard of him up until now.
How old is he?
He's young, 2-year maybe. As
24, and this is his 2nd season.
Yeah. As much as I hate to say it too, Dak has kind of been cooking recently. I would, if there was a time to invest in this offense a bit, it's probably right now. So, good pickup.
Yeah, I mean, one injury in their top 2 or 3 guys, which Michael Gallup has been injured in the past, and this guy becomes extremely fantasy relevant.
So what about you, Wyatt? Who's your waiver wire offensive pickup of the week?
I'm gonna start with just the strongest one I have. My biggest recommendation, Keaton Mitchell. He was my favorite trade so far, and he had a breakout game, 138 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. It was mostly in garbage minutes. It's very important to consider. He's coming off of an injury in his rookie season. But he's my darling boy in the Ravens backfield. I have high hopes for him, so I'm obviously biased. But when he was actually given the rock, he showed a lot of potential. He has the breakout speed that I have not. He has breakout speed that is very attractive in an offense like the Ravens as an accompanying piece to Lamar. And I think they are going to try and work him in more after seeing what he could do this week. So I would suggest picking him up if he's not already taken. I believe he's rostered in about 50-ish% of leagues, somewhere around there from what I saw. But I'd still recommend picking him up if possible.
So how many people in that Ravens backfield are injured? Because I feel like he's getting looks because they've just been plagued with injuries. But, I mean, if he's the guy, he's the guy. He's a rookie.
When was the last time that we saw the guy in the backfield at Baltimore? There hasn't been a guy. Mm-mm. There's always been people injured, and unfortunately, this has nothing to do with the to do with the organization. They win. Their fantasy
Mark Ingram
points
is
there.
Probably.
I don't even remember what year that was. 2019.
A while ago. Mark Ingram from the U.
There's just. It's so risky to invest, but on the waiver wire, I mean, you're scrapping at the bottom. You're starting to get some injuries on your running back. I think Keaton Mitchell is there, but I wouldn't be investing too much in him as a long-term pickup, a long-term solution for any running back problems that we're running into right now.
Until the wheels fall off.
So,
it is worth considering their matchup this next week is against the Browns. Not a good look for anyone looking to start a running back in any sense of the word. So
not a good
going to be a down week regardless. Not a good matchup.
So And then my waiver wire pickup on offense is Sam Howell. All right, Sam Howell is currently not in 45% of leagues. and he is scoring more. I'll just say one name right now. He does not care about your fantasy team. I'll say it right to the camera. He does not care about your fantasy team right now, is Lamar Jackson. He is putting a clinic on every week, but you have Sam Howell sitting on the waiver wire, and you're playing Lamar Jackson week in, week out. Sam Howell is slinging the ball. I don't care about the Commanders. I don't care about how their success is. You are wanting to win your week in and out. I understand you probably invested your first round pick in Lamar Jackson. It ain't worth it. You want to win your league. Bench him. If he starts picking up, go. I guarantee you, more times than not for the rest of the season, Sam Howell will score more than Lamar Jackson.
It's a hot take.
As usual.
That's not even a hot take. Go look at the stats right now. He scores
No,
more
I mean, I'm looking at him.
than Lamar Jackson.
He's flinging the rock. He's for sure going to be their guy moving forward. He's throwing 300 yards, almost 400 yards in the last couple games.
Mm-hmm. As a Sam Howell manager, he can throw the ball. When their offense is moving, it is moving. It gets limited sometimes. Whenever they're contained, it's just very contained. But in games where he has a favorable matchup, you are going to be streaming him more than I think most starting quarterbacks in this league. He has high highs. If you want a weekly winner, somebody who is going to put your team over the edge in comparison to somebody else's, mid-scoring QB1, Sam Howell's that guy.
I mean, he's the number 6 quarterback right now.
And that's with two very, very terrible performances stat-wise. So those are dragging it down a lot.
For sure. He also hasn't had a bye week. So he's got that
worth considering
as well. But considering the draft position and potentially waiver wire pickup, it's more than worth whatever roster
more
spot
than worth
as
it.
a backup quarterback. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At the very
100%.
least.
100%.
So I think with that, we should go into the reason Dynasty Depot exists. Is we should dive right into the defensive waiver wire pickups of the week. Kilger, your waiver wire defensive player of the week is someone that currently is tied for second for most touchdowns that CJ Stroud has thrown to one person. I don't know if you knew that, but go ahead with your defensive waiver wire pickup of the week.
I don't know if that's accurate. My defensive,
what is that statistic?
Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't even think they played.
No, please elaborate. Actually, Boj.
Kenny Moore.
Oh, they did play.
Oh yes.
Kenny Moore
Wait,
had
week
2
two.
pick
That just
sixes against CJ Stroud. Adam Thielen
No.
has 3 touchdowns this week. What?
No. You're saying the wrong person.
Who?
CJ Stroud's only thrown 1 or 2 picks total.
Oh, I'm talking about Bryce Young. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's just hating on CJ Stroud right now. He's just hating on CJ Stroud. Oh my god.
I do agree with that.
Bryce Young.
Anyways, Kenny Moore.
Rent fucking free, dude.
Yeah, Kenny Moore. I mean, he's having a pretty banging season so far. In case you didn't see the game, he had 2 pick sixes in one game, and that is worthy of a second look if you haven't looked at him at all. Rostered by 14% of leagues, started by 11, so the people who pretty much have him are starting him. But, I mean, he's throwing up at least 6 to 8 tackles a game, a couple sacks sprinkled in there, bunch of interceptions, couple touchdowns. He seems to be doing more than Shaq Leonard in the Colts defense, and that's worthy of looking at. I'd pick him up if you could.
No, I completely agree. He's on my map too. He's taken in our league. But,
yeah, he's also he's playing New England on the road next week, and we just shit all over Mac Jones. So it's not like we have a great recommendation for that. But he is playing a putrid offense. He could have another great showing. I don't think he'll throw up the 40 points they threw up defensively, but he'll give you a good solid 10 to 15 points every week.
No, very solid. My waiver, I have 2 defensive waiver wire pickups this week. I'm going to start with Isaiah McDuffie. He is a linebacker off the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers front 7 is getting beat up. We just got Campbell back. We're out Quay Walker, and Kenny Clark just went down. I know Kenny Clark plays the middle, but that front 7 is becoming thin, and Isaiah McDuffie is getting a very large snap count because of it. He is over 90% of the defensive snaps, and he is making the most of it. Beginning of the season, he was rough. He has scored over 8 points in 3 of his 8 games, and 2 of those are the most recent games. And he's only rostered on 6%. 8 points can win you a game, especially on defensive depth. It's important to have someone that can consistently score those, and he is getting more and more looks, and he is becoming more and more comfortable as this middle of the pack Packers defense is playing. He is getting more and more of those looks, and he is starting to settle in very nicely, as well as our secondary, which just means they're running the ball more and more down the middle where Isaiah is just going to get tackles. So that's one of my pickups for the week. I
don't know if anyone could tell, but Vogel is a huge Packers fan. Lots of we's and hours thrown around there. So if he's given him his recommendation and endorsement, you could tell it's a little biased.
This other one is Nate Landman. He scored 19.2 points, and he scored over 8 in the last 3 games this season. He has a high ceiling. 2 of those games that he scored that it's over 15 points, and he's only owned in 13% of leagues, and he's going to score you those average of 6 to 10 points, and he's just sitting on the waiver wire for most of you guys. I think that's a very quality pickup for most people to pick up. Those are my 2. I went with linebackers this week. I think you really can't get past the linebackers.
Linebackers get tackles. Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner. Seattle's their linebackers have been cooking. Dolphins linebackers have been cooking. They've been getting. If you're in a defensive-minded league, putting linebackers in solid point contributers, forced fumbles, you're going to be getting. You're going to be getting good. You're going to be getting good solid
pass
points.
Interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what about you? Who's your defensive waiver wire pickup?
My pickup for this week on defense, another guy I have rostered, and coincidentally another Raven. Today, this is Ravens week. First of all, the Ravens defense they are cooking with fire right now. The Ravens defense is looking Super Bowl caliber, in my opinion. Their whole team is performing very high octane right now, but their defense is absolutely Super Bowl caliber, if anything else. Justin Madubuike, 7.5 sacks this season. So that's more than Aaron Donald, Montez Sweat, Khalil Mack, and Chris Jones, not combined, obviously, but that's more than each of them. He's tied with Micah Parsons.
$100 million man, Montez Sweat.
Tied with Micah Parsons and Hassan Reddick. He is putting up numbers right now. And does anyone, Voj, would you happen to be able to look up the roster percentage for him? Because I couldn't find that statistic. But from what I saw, he probably isn't that high rostered. I feel like he's a bit of an underrated guy in the league right now. He's putting up numbers. It's kind of insane.
That's what you want. Is you want those guys that are under the radar, just giving you points week in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that attract the attention, they get double teamed.
Yep. The Ravens has so much weapons. There's so much weapons on defense that he is just racking up the points because there's way too much to worry about.
So Justin is owned in 18% of leagues, 12% stardom, and that's up 1% this past week.
Yeah, that's really not that much as far as a roster percentage goes.
There was a lot of buys this last week too, so that 1% is pretty negligible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's beyond worth rostering right now.
So
minimum bench spot.
100% worth a bench spot. But I think with that, We want to thank everyone for coming into the loading bay for this week. And as always, we're always on our social media. Go to see Dynasty Depot. Email us at dynastydepotcast@gmail.com. And we will catch you tomorrow with shipment number 2 for NFL Week 10. Peace.